Hockey Inside Out, presented to you by the Montreal Gazette.
Welcome to the Hockey Inside Out Show. I'm Montreal Gazette sports editor Stu Cowan, joined this week by Chris Nilan, Christopher Curtis of the Gazette, and Ted Bird of Sportsnet and the new Montreal radio station, the Jewel 106.7. The big trade this week, Chris, we have Jiri Sekac going to Anaheim for Devante Smith-Pelly. Your thoughts? Good trade, bad trade?
You know, we'll know a year or 2 years from now. You can always look back and say, oh, this was good for Montreal, it was bad for Anaheim. You know, to look at it on paper, I mean, they're both 22. They both got about the same number of points. Here's the deal. I think it's a win-win from the sense that Montreal needs to get bigger. They need to be a stronger team. They need bigger bodies. We've been saying that for the last 4 years. How do you get that way? Well, build through the draft, or you make trades. And you can't always get players like that. It's difficult sometimes. And listen, Jiri Sekac, I don't believe is going to play here for this coach. This coach has a, 4-year deal? I don't think he really liked his style of play, cared for him as a player. And whether Mark Bergevin brought him here or not, he must have convinced Mark that, listen, and maybe Mark was convinced himself that this was the way to go. And again, this team has to be bigger. I believe this kid is one of the pieces you need to win in 7-game series in the playoffs. One of these kids that will go to the net, he'll be able to plant himself in front of the net, be strong, body checks, all those things. And again, yeah, can Sekac score goals? He had 11 in the KHL.
That's right. And he had 18 in the USHL.
You know, he had a great shot and he can skate and do all this stuff. But again, you know, he's a pretty pony, I think. I liked some of the things I saw from him. He had a great shot, could skate with the puck, all those things. But where was it? You know, and again, you can say, oh, he didn't play with this guy, he didn't play with that guy, blah, 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 blah. I think it's a win-win for both, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we had a poll up on the site, Ted, and it's almost split 50-50. It's rare you see a trade where the fans are basically split evenly on that.
Well, when you look at Sekac's skill set, if Gauthier or Gainey had made this trade, it would have been 90-10 people hating it, right? But people have confidence in Mark Bergevin because he's made some shrewd moves in the 3 years that he's been here. I was a little surprised they gave up, if that's the right term, on Sekac this early. But at the same time, that trade says to me they're going for it now. They're not looking down the road at maybe a shot at the cup in 2 or 3 years. They're going for it now, and they got a guy who can help them this year in the playoffs versus a guy who, if he's not playing every game in the regular season, how much was he going to play in the playoffs?
Now, Chris, you're around the team in the room. What was Sekac like in the room? How was he blending in?
He was sort of always off to the side, and I think the guys come up together through the AHL, you know, so most of them know each other that way, and then you have this guy who's roughly your age, he's young, he's a rookie, and he's just sort of thrown into the mix. He was certainly a nice guy, a polite guy, quiet guy, but the thing that struck me the most was it seemed like he didn't really understand his role on the team, and maybe Michel Therrien didn't really understand his role on the team. So as Chris was saying, maybe it was never going to work.
Yeah, and hey, listen, if you don't know your role, go ask the coach, go to the Jet, what's my role? 1, 2, I think what we're forgetting here, and yeah, we're getting rid of this goal scorer, 11 goals again, the KHL. Nikita Sherbak is on the way, no?
Yeah.
At some point here, you can't, and they're similar in a sense. So, like, Sherbak, Sekac, and, you know, come on. So it's not like you got rid of this guy that was lighting the lamp every night for you, for a guy who's going to grind it out for you.
Well, we're going to find out pretty quick, because it looks like in Anaheim he's going to play with Getzlaf and Perry. So we're going to find out pretty quick, I think, how he's going to do there.
It's like the worst case scenario for people who are very reactionary. I told you he was great, he just scored 3 goals. But I feel like our reactions aren't strong enough. We should be a terrible trade, great trade, but I think the right attitude is the one you have, which is wait and see, because it's, you know, you won't know tomorrow. You won't, you know, maybe in the playoffs.
You never do.
Idea. Yeah.
Takes time.
Listen, if Smith-Pelly helped the Canadiens win the Cup this year, and Sekac goes on and scores 25 a year for the Ducks for the next 5 seasons, both teams have won that trade.
I like his name, though, right? Devante Smith-Pelly. Pelly, Devante Smith. You can say it any way you want. It sounds like a name.
I've heard
You
people
know?
call
Could be a
him,
law firm, Devante Smith and Pelly.
people calling him DSP like GSP,
Yeah.
right? He had
DSP.
36 goals though his final year of junior in the Ontario.
Jay
Hockey League.
Farrar came up with that one yesterday on the show.
Okay.
He come up with DSP right away. So it's pretty cool.
Now he's a right-hand shot, which is something the Canadiens have really been looking for. You were a right-hand shot. Did you ever play on the left side?
Oh, yeah, and it really screwed me up. Made a big difference in my game. No, you know, again, the biggest thing about playing the off wing is when you're coming out of your end, picking the puck off the wall. If I'm playing my off wing and I got to pick it off the wall like that, it's difficult. Or be looking back this way because, you know, the D-man, you know, I'm looking back like this, the D-man's coming down you while you're trying to see the puck. That's the most difficult thing. If you've watched the Montreal Canadiens breakout lately, the wingers are up by the blue lines on the breakout. Please, what's so difficult about that? The puck comes and you tip it in on your backhand and you're off wing. In the offensive zone, it's a plus for you. You know, having your stick in the middle of the ice now, you got a better angle to shoot, you see more net, all those things. So, seemed to work last night.
Well, Michel Therrien puts Alex Galchenyuk on the right wing, another move where fans are scratching their head going, what's this guy doing? And he gets 3 points.
And he's so stubborn that he goes over to the left side to score his goal. He's like, yeah, I told you, coach. I told you.
It seems like whatever moves he makes, no matter how bizarre they seem to be working off.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think that second line now is 3 centermen, is it not? It's Eller, Plekanec, and Galchenyuk.
Yeah.
3 centermen, and they're producing. So
Think they know their role?
We'll be right back after a short break. All right, Christopher, the trade deadline's coming up March 2nd. Does Marc Bergevin need to do something else, or should he be sitting with what he's got right now?
I think nobody knows. Not even Marc Bergevin knows what Marc Bergevin is going to do. He's so secretive. I think the idea was they're going to go and get a defenseman. But you look at the 3 young guys and how they've been playing these last few games, and you think, do they really need to? Do they really need to give something up? So I think maybe, but only if the price is right.
Do you see him sticking with the young defense? Would you go get a veteran if you were the GM? Would you get a veteran
I'd go
defenseman?
get Roman Polak. I like this guy. He's tough on the back end. They need a real tough guy back there. I like the pairing, a good skating D, good puck moving defenseman with a slug back there who can clear the front of the net, be mean, a Yemelin, a Tenorti. I mean, I love those pairings. Who knows? But I think Bergevin will do something. Come on, he's been active every year since he's been here. So I don't think this is it, this one move.
Now, Ted, what's going on? This team plays terrible against terrible teams. Then they go into St. Louis and smoke them on the road. What's going on?
Well, that's the good news. They won't have to play playoff teams in the playoffs. They'll only have to play the good teams because they get beat at home by the Floridas and the Arizonas of this world. Then they go, what have they done in the last few weeks? They went into New York and beat the Rangers. They went into Boston and beat the Bruins. They went into St. Louis and beat the Blues. I'm a lot more comfortable with them losing to crap teams at home and beating good teams on the road than I would be vice versa. Because as Chris has pointed out before, come playoff time, everybody's intensity level is going to be where it needs to be.
Well, it seems like they're a team that when they need to prove something to themselves and when they need to prove something to everybody, they do. They show up. And the other thing is that being involved in all these close one-goal games, even against the crappy teams, come playoff times, they'll have like dress rehearsed those intense, tight situations again and again and again.
This is Chris. It's Michel Therrien's 3rd year coaching. The team seems to keep getting better. Is he a legitimate candidate for the Jack Adams Trophy for Coach of the Year?
You know, I mean, come on, he's put the numbers up. Look at what he's done. Yeah, he definitely has to be in the conversation, you know. And you talk about the close games. I go to that. And yeah, there's going to be close games in the playoffs. They're used to playing in those games. We heard the coach the other night after the game say that, you know, I like that our team is, and we try and play in those close games. And I like that we're good at playing in those close games. They have no choice. They can't say this. What do you mean you like it? You like it when they win 5-2 like last night instead of 2-1 every night. You know, you're having a heart attack and you're losing your hair at the same time.
Earlier in the year he said you need to score 3 goals to win a game, and the other day he said, well, we're playing defensive, so 2's good. You know, sometimes we're winning.
Yeah.
Now, Carey Price sets a team record, 9 9 straight road wins. He has a 1.11 goals against average during that time. After the St. Louis game, Michel Therrien said, not a lot of special players are in the NHL, but we have one. Ted, could this team win if something was to happen to Carey Price?
I don't think so. I think we already saw that in the playoffs last year, as well as Tokarski played against the Rangers. Carey Price is the linchpin of this team. I mean, there are a lot of other good players on the team, but it all emanates from him, I think. And I just think that also not only the loss of his skill set in the net, but the psychological impact on the rest of the team if he were to go down. There's just no way that they're going to go all the way without him.
Now, one of the biggest stories recently has been Nathan Beaulieu's progress. Chris, what have you liked most about him?
He's played well. He's scrappy. I knew the kid obviously had the tools. He has the skating ability, can move the puck, all those things. His whole thing is learning the game down below the dots in your own end. I don't care about from the blue line out. He knows what to do. He's good with the puck. He's a heady player. It's down below the dots, learning how to close on guys, read 3-on-3, read good defensive situations, know when to hold in front of the net, know when to jump, all those things. And he's gotten better at it. And the only way you get better at it is by doing it, yes, in practice, but then applying it in games.
Now, Chris, where you've been around him from day one of training camp, have you noticed a change in him, the way he's handling himself off the ice or on the ice, or what?
Yeah, I mean, some of the reporters said he was a little stiffer last year, and he seems a lot more comfortable in his own skin now. The thing about, as Chris is saying, it's really in his own end that we've seen the improvement. I mean, it's easy to look at Beaulieu in a game like against Columbus and just see him control the puck and skate and see traces of a PK Subban or an Andrei Markov. But it's what he's starting to do in the defensive zone, just recover the puck, push it back up, make the right breakout pass, or just skate it midway through the ice. Like, these are the little things that are changing. And in the locker room, he's a funny guy. He's actually, oddly, he's one of the funniest guys on the team.
Mm-hmm. Jared Tenorti, Ted, his performance so far, do you think he's going to stay here?
Well, it's hard to say. I guess it depends on Emelin and Gonchar and whether they come back. And if it comes down to, do you keep Tenorti around or Greg Pattern? The good news is it's not the lesser of two evils, the way they've both been playing. It's not like choosing between, cyanide and arsenic.
I'm arsenic.
You're going arsenic?
Sprinkle it in your hot dog and see you guys later.
Yeah, I think, his progress probably hasn't been what they were hoping for. He was drafted, in 2010? Mm-hmm. But he's coming along. I find that it's coming, and he's not scary out there. Like, I find that him and Pattern have both been competent.
His skating looks better.
Well,
yeah.
What is scary is when he drops the gloves, Chris. I don't know. Every
there's
time
that.
he fights now, I'm sort of doing this.
Well, ever since he lost that fight down there, got hit with that punch, that shakes you a little bit, and it's tough to come back from. He's the type of kid who can. He came back and fought Petrovic there. The punch at the end that caught him scared me. And then the last fight, it was difficult. He looked like, he was tired, and he looked like he was pretty much wide open. And if he gets hit again like that, it's not a good thing. I think he's got to pick his way through fights. He can't just stand there and swing.
It's dangerous, wide open stuff.
Yeah, he has to use his head better when he gets involved in a fight. That way he'll last. He'll be around. I'd hate, again, to see what happened to him in Hamilton.
Well, hope you enjoyed this week's show. We'll be back next week. It'll be after the trade deadline, and we'll talk about what Marc Bergevin did or didn't do. See you then.